Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So, Jubilee has released another one of their surrounded panels, their 20v1, and this time was starring Mehdi Hasan as the person who was surrounded by, as they claim, 20 far-right Republicans, which they'll probably need to change that title just like they did with their Jordan Peterson panel, because some of these folks openly admitted that they are not Republicans, that they do not believe in democracy, that they want autocracies, and that they claim to be openly fascistic. And this isn't just me being a hand-wringing, concern-trolling lefty. You can watch the video yourself. I would recommend taking a Xanax or an Ativan before you do, because you start to come to terms with the fact that these people have the same voting power as you, and that can be a little bit concerning when you live in the United States. But maybe you've seen the pictures floating around of this guy in particular. Real champion of the right here, real savior of the white race. 22 years old, by the way. 11 years younger than me, which is the roughest sub 25 I've ever seen. But regardless of his physical appearance, his mental faculties are also just as obscene, because he said the following in his Jubilee panel.
How would Connor's America look? What would it look like?
Well, quite frankly, I think we would deport people who shouldn't be here.
No, I didn't ask about deporting. What does the government look like?
What does the government look like?
Yeah.
I would say, quite frankly, it's under a sort of benevolent leader such as
Where does he
Franco.
come from?
It could be a kind of aristocratic class. Could be someone
Who picks the autocrat?
frankly, the people. I mean, we could hold a vote on it. Kings
So
were
isn't that democracy?
Well, sure. You can have a vote to get to that stage.
And then no more votes afterwards?
Absolutely.
Wow.
100%.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone,
Carl
even their own
Schmitt makes
supporters.
this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right? You
Carl
liberals,
Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at
I
all.
didn't say that. I
Doesn't
didn't
matter
actually
to
say
me.
that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
What about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But
And
you
so
don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution
We
and
may
stuff like
have
that,
to
which is
rename
bad.
this show
but
because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
1, 2,
Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone
Because
is on this.
in
Because you know
during-
that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
clearly you're not.
During the
Now, what he's saying about the billions of people who will be watching this, a lot of people will say that with debate, that's the whole point. It's not about changing the minds of the people who are there with you. It's about the viewing audience at home. They'll get to see these views espoused. They'll get to see the reactions of the crowd and maybe the reactions within themselves. And they'll realize that perhaps they're on the wrong page. Or maybe they're on the right page, but they're on the wrong note. And they have to figure out where they need to be to get on the right track again. But as you can see towards the end of that clip, people are applauding over this fascistic rhetoric. They're all happy and seal clapping over this because someone said the right words on stage and it made them feel good on the inside. And a lot of folks will say that this came from the pendulum shifting. The Overton window has moved to the right because for the past 10 years, they tried to tell you things like women and brown people are people too, and apparently that was too much for some people that made them turn into far-right autocrats. Anytime I hear this kind of train of thought that the media said that they were racist people in the government and that made me racist, I'm just brought back to that Matt Boers comic. I know you know the one I'm talking about too. This came out in 2018, by the way. This is 7 years in the making of literally the same conversation we've been having this entire time. If you turn into an evil person because the peer group around you is saying that there are evil people out there, and you choose to join up with them because you've been made aware of their presence, what is that supposed to say about you? Why should I try to support that? I want everybody to be happy, healthy. I want working people to have a fair shake in things, but you don't want working people to have a fair shake in things. you're dependent on what they look like, what they act like, who their grandparents were, or rather where their grandparents were born. And saying that as an American is crazy. But these types of guys have introduced me to all new types of words, like old stock and FBA, and I think some of you just need to get into a power scaling fandom so you can stop thinking about races and start thinking about fantasy races, because you have very active imaginations, and obviously evil people are using that to their advantage so you can give them money and support their ideals. But I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. Jubilee is a demonic organization. I don't know what their goals are unless it's to make other people hate each other. Because the only kind of traction I see from these videos are liberals and leftists coming to terms with the fact that our political opposition hates us and wants to kill us or send us to camps. And then Republicans or right-wingers, when they see stuff like this on the TV, they say one of two things. They either say based, red-pilled, and true, or whatever the fuck sort of 4chanisms they want to come up with now, or they'll say that it's a hoax, it's a plot. You know, these are plants. They're just here to make us look bad. And I just always find that so funny when conservatives go on conservative media and say conservative things to appeal to a conservative audience. All of a sudden these are plants. These are Antifa who are actually tricking you into the actual logical conclusion of the things you believe. To wrap all this up neatly though, I want to tell you, if you want to try debating people like this, just understand you don't need to go in this with the attempt to change the person's mind across from you. Lots of folks will say this is for the audience, and Mehdi Hasan himself fell into that trap while trying to debate these people.
I'm not surprised one of the Charlottesville marchers doesn't like me. And I've met those people. And I respect their views.
You really shouldn't.
Well, they're wants.
Don't respect racists and fascists, is my advice to you.
Well, they have their preferences. You know, that's just, we can't change that.
Actually, we can. That's why I tried to come in today, but anyways.
So who knows? Maybe these folks are right about debate actually affecting the audience. Because if you think that these people are truly plants, you need to understand that this is the end goal of what you believe. So take that as you will. But I guess until the next time they decide to put together a panel of one normal person versus 20 demons, I'll try to have a good day.